This webinar is now started. Few minutes to prepare and wait for others. It's 7 o'clock right now. I will start the webinar. Hopefully more people will get connected to, this first webinar about the lazy trading story, as well as the first course, set up your home trading environment. Maybe few words about myself and actually why I'm creating this story, and yeah, just to make things like open. I live here in Switzerland since 2 years, and I'm an engineer by education. So I'm kind of a problem solver and learning both data science as well as trying with some algorithmic trading. This webinar I created to better connect with the students, to help answer maybe some questions. There will be some giveaway at the end. There will be free coupons for the next course of the series for free, completely free. Obviously, feel free to put your questions to, if you obviously should be watching on YouTube streaming. There is from technical point of view, I will try to squeeze everything like 45 minutes. If there will be questions, it can still be like 1 hour. Please feel there are some cards on the top right. If you click there, you can actually find those cards, and I'll ask you right now to put your choice. If you can see and hear me well, there is a card, and I'd like to ask you to actually rate like a video, everything okay, or sometimes yes, sometimes no. Yeah, feel free to write where you're joining from in the comments, and any of your feedback. Now I will share my screen, and we'll proceed with some introduction. All right, here we have now our slide deck. Cool. Let me just go one by one for the slides. Yes, this we already did. So this webinar will be about those topics. I will make some introduction about why I start this lazy trading story. I'll talk about hardware, software, and about big strategy explained in the first course of the series. Then we'll talk about version control as well, and the Q&A. I can also share some of them. Show my system. I mean, my computer. It's not a big deal, not a big secret what I'm doing. So then we close up. This webinar obviously will be available in my YouTube channel. Right. Why I started these things, algorithmic trading and the data science, or the lazy trading story. So this was my idea 3 years ago. I was making my study within Six Sigma. Six Sigma for service. I did a couple of projects. It was a whole idea to make some sort of a predictions or verifying the hypothesis with some design experiment and things like that. I was using Minitab, this software, to design an experiment, and then later realized there must be something more than this, something more better than Six Sigma. So I realized there is a things that called data science. But my goal was actually to try to get some benefit, right? Time to get real benefit, money, financial freedom, everything like that. So, and I found out there is a thing that called algorithmic trading. I didn't know it was existing. this time. So kind of a, by googling, by researching about data science, I found out there's this things algorithmic trading. Actually, even to study, well, the I think I started with the idea to get benefits, and then I came up to those two things. So I don't really know which started first. Probably the whole idea was to get benefit. Yeah. Then the data science and algorithmic trading was like a means to get there. So at the end of the day, 3 years ago, I came to the point that I need to learn something new, and I started with a thing called machine learning and data science, using Microsoft Azure. I took a course, and it was really interesting. And obviously, this course forced me to choose between Python and R. I literally flipped the coin and choose to study R. I think it was a good choice, but probably in the future I will also study Python. I'm kind of curious to try this thing as well. And I also studied. I found out. I was trying to find some way to to speculate in the market, and I found out Udemy. I found out some courses. I learned myself. It was like I was like literally studying overnight because it was so cool and interesting. But I realized that the story algorithmic trading is very complex. There's a lot of things, like money management, trading strategy, optimization of these robots. But it was really interesting. But I realized very quickly that is too many things need to be considered. There's too many pitfalls. So I was using R, and I kind of literally came to this point. I was trying to automate those pitfalls, try to make it easier for me to have a workaround around those pitfalls, like I'm trying to analyze my trades, try to create some standards about trading robots, making them more robust, understanding which template I should use, how to code it better. Anyway, I was building, like, say, my idea, bits and pieces here and there, and later I realized two things. First was that the thing that I thought that of things that I'm creating are probably very interested. And second thing, I mean, very interesting for others. And second thing that I realized that whatever I'm doing, I'm kind of it's not systematic, not robust, not sustainable, because I was testing one thing. I was like moving it forward, let it test it, but after 1 month, I tried started up testing another thing, and then I forgot what was, maybe the previous thing was not successful, so I kind of drop it off. But at the same time, I felt that I'm spending time and I'm not really documenting a lot of things, or the bits and pieces that I can reuse. So I kind of came to the point that I need to build something. And in December this year, I came to the point to create a thing that called lazy trading. And this was the motivation. Basically, I thought then I want to be lazy. This was like the lazy in terms of I had a job and I can't dedicate much time on that, but at the same time I really wanted to do it. So I decided to follow this principle, and I tried to automate these things in the easy sustainable way, so I could reach my goal. And finally, I built the series of courses. I created a website. I started publishing, yeah, some blogs about this idea. And here we go. This is my blog. You can find it by googling. You just google my blog attempt, and you'll find Industry 4.0 website. So this website contains actually, obviously, my contact. Feel free to connect, by the way. These are the blogs. So these are all blogs that I'm writing about. Basically, it's typically all my courses, but maybe also some other things. So I built this 7 things here, which is all the series. This, by the way, this blog is really explaining why I did this and how I came to this point. And obviously, if you wish to follow this series, there is obviously all the description of the courses and the promotional links. Obviously, feel free to send them to your friends or whatever who will need it. They are not expiring, so you can just anytime came there and take it. Obviously, I really appreciate that you will use them, because it will help to support, let's say, motivate me to create new stuff and improve obviously existing stuff. So the thing I want to show, that also there is a one sort of one link here that shows overview of all my works that I keep updating. So there's all the obviously all the things that I created so far, including not about trading like cryptography or using deep learning to solve problems, not to solve but identify problems. Sorry. Yeah, well, which will help to solve the problems. So this was about my site. Yes, I created this series of courses, and yeah, this is a story called Lazy Trading. But before we go into the details about this, and because technically this is about risks, about the trading, I would like to bring a few words about disclaimer. It's actually very short. Um, I cannot promise that materials will be really, really successful and help you to reach financial independence. Moreover, there is a risk that you, even though if you may not really spend, let's say, money on whatever following my courses, and which I not recommend. I only recommend to use demo accounts, so you don't have any risk. um, there is also psychological risk that you may spend, you may spend time and still not achieve desired goal. Thing I believe myself is that actually once I actually discover this thing, like a speculation, I discovered this is really big problem for society, because there's a big bodies are literally speculating in the market instead of the kind of easy money for the people who can really get the edge, so who can speculate with good performance. So I really recommend to use data science, sorry, use trading infrastructure software to learn computer and data science, and this course providing exactly this idea. It show you how you can learn bits and pieces of code. It gives also interesting objective to grow your demo account at the end, and this course kind of helping you to get bits and pieces of the things that will help you to reach your goal. So this was kind of a disclaimer. Once again, I recommend you to learn computer data science using trading, and then to apply these results to your work, or to get value. Right. So lazy trading. This first course is about setting up really your PC, your desktop PC, Windows, or virtual private server if you're using Mac for algorithmic trading. Um, I'm not only well, there's not so much value if I just create a course about explaining how to set up laptop or PC for algorithmic trading. I also provide. I believe that this course providing more value than that. It is explaining really some like outlining some long-term strategy of learning data science, of creating, building up your system, sustainable. Like it's like marathon. You can put the system working for years. In fact, um, I wanted to address my own problem to be organized. So therefore, we will talk about in this course. We're talking on the version control. So we took a lot of preparation. In fact, in this course, we don't even trade. We don't even do any trade, and we're trying to get the idea that hardware and software are robust. So in case of power off and power on some shortage, this system, the idea is that the system should restart automatically. And in fact, in the end of the course, I'm going to my seller and just testing it. Now, I would like to move to the hardware part, which is explained in the course. And I'd like to ask you to, if you're watching this webinar, later, maybe even now, just try to use this card and on the top right on your screen. And could you please select which trading hardware you use in terms of what is it? Is it Windows, or it is Mac, or it is laptop, or something else, or use maybe virtual private server, or maybe you just came here just to kind of a um, I mean, just for curiosity and really not your main goal is to learn data science and not really making trades. So feel free to choose those cards, and I will continue uh, to go to the slides. Right. So the hardware, I'm robust. Let's say the idea is to that software is sorry, the hardware will be robust, more robust than it should be. The idea that our hardware will work 24/7, so we will keep our computer working. In case you may choose VPS, virtual private server, this is also, I think, should be possible. But in the course, we are actually focusing on desktop Windows PC, which I'm using. This course is not about setting up high frequency trading, so it's sort of a very fast scalper systems. No. So, well, that's it. I'm considering, I'm recommending to use two monitors, or at least two, like laptop with additional screen for easier programming, but really one monitor. If you don't plan to create something like a heavy program, if you just want to reproduce what I'm doing, one monitor certainly is enough. A few words about virtual private server. I think some people are traveling or not having possibility to keep computer working, maybe because of the not stable power supply or bad internet. There is a way, of course, to use the virtual private server, but I'm not covering in the course, especially in the further courses, about how to use, how to use deep learning with a virtual private server. I think it should be possible, but this is not tested by me. If you will use virtual private server, feel free to send me a message and give you feedback if you would reproduce the same on virtual private server. Now, this we already did, and right now I will switch to the software, but I think there will be slightly more value if I show you my computer. So this is, let's say, my computer. It's I bought it 2 years ago. It is just Lenovo desktop with two monitors. I added here additional memory, 4 GB of RAM. If I go to device manager, I can show you that it's just 4 CPUs. Um, really, if you have more CPUs, this would be better, because if you're really in up to this, because in the latest course we will be using actively deep learning, and deep learning loves, which I realize deep learning loves more CPUs. Um, I can't explain that, but what I found out that the models are much more performant if you're using more CPUs. So what I have here, I have two monitors for if because I'm using two monitors, I also installed my video card here. But if you don't use two monitors, you don't need it. So this was a little bit about my hardware. In the course, we explain how to set up BIOS, so let computer restart in case of power outage. But this is minor detail. Cool. Let's really talk about the software now. I'm not really creating something like super novelty here. Just using normal open source software, which you can download for free. What I'm using is a Metadata 4, RStudio, as well as H2O. H2O we're using in the latest latest two courses in order to access deep learning capabilities. Another thing we're using is the version control. I'm became fan of it, and what I recommend is to use let's say with software with graphical user interface, which is GitHub for desktop. But let's just maybe let me explain why I'm using R. Um, it's probably also possible to recreate the same thing in Python. I think it's totally possible. But as I said before, I'm using R because I flipped the coin and I just stick to this thing. What R is doing is basically it's first of all is a more user-friendly programming. You can basically reproduce the code. There's a lot of functions which you can download from the CRAN. Can do pretty much everything. It can connect to the databases. It can access cryptography functions. I have a course for that, by the way. There are GitHub. Obviously, you can integrate it easily with version control. There is a way to connect it even to your personal Google Cloud to manage documents, whatever. But for us, we will be using with trading terminal. We'll communicate with the trading terminals, and that is also great that it can do it, as well as it can build. We can build some applications like Shiny apps. So to make it things user interactive, we'll be using for trading journal, by the way. And last thing that it can also do is connecting to deep learning capabilities. I'm using H2O, but I guess it's also possible to use like things like TensorFlow. Now, I think I would like to ask you to maybe a little later. Okay, the thing is that I'm advocating for is version control. So version control, I think it's a must for me. Is a must, and I actually really regret that I didn't start it before. But even to make it more easier, I recommend you to directly start with desktop version. I'm using this because I cannot remember those commands, so I'm just using this one. And now I think I would like to ask you a question. Do you use a version control if if whenever you are in trading, or you just this basic question? If you would like to answer, I would like really happy to get your feedback. I'm using it, so I will obviously answer yes myself. Even if you're watching it later, this webinar later, please feel free to answer yes or no or not sure. What maybe I can say that is if you're afraid to actually use version control, like because you're afraid to share your code, it's not mandatory actually to share your code. You can keep version control on your local computer, so you don't really share it, but you're still keeping versioning. And with GitHub for desktop, you can still kind of check out what you're doing. You can return back and you can create branches and so whatever. So I think the next point I would like to go is let me just yeah, I think it will be good added value if I would demonstrate how I'm using version control. So right now I'm opening the GitHub for desktop. I have here my repository for the Falcon B. This will be explained in the second course of the series. So the thing I have is like this. I have the repository here. I'm in the master branch. Um, in case it's published, it will be also like I can fetch it from the cloud repository. So I can just simply open this repository in Explorer. And this is my repository, which is under version control. I keep all the repositories in this folder, which I call trading repository, everything that is related to trading. But right now, I would like to demonstrate that I'm developing, actually here, I'm developing this robot. So this one is, by the way, in the course I'm explaining that these are the repositories I can quickly go to any of the meta editor folders, right? So here I would have this trading robot. This robot is this file is can be edited by the meta editor. So if I change this code of my robot, or I can create maybe new branch or whatever. What I can do here, I can just edit it here. I will save it, and then I will need to bring this to my, let's say, my version control folder. Right now, what I will do, I will just demonstrate that how this transfer is coming here. So from here, I will use this script. So this is the script that synchronizing is bringing from source directory. So source directory is this directory, not this one, in which I am developing this robot. This is a source directory, and the destination directory will be my version control directory. Here is it. Okay, so right now, if I execute the script, it is checking if the version here let's say is the same as this version here. And in fact, let me just demonstrate that. In fact, they are the same. They are just edited at the same time. Right now, let me just add here one minus. So like edit, simulate like edit, like from meta editor. Right now, I changed this file. And right now I can, let's assume I changed this robot and I want to bring it to all other trading terminals. So, and even I can check it out to my cloud repository. So what I will do, I will take this script, pull from development terminal, and I will execute it. And right now, this is updated script. If I go here, I can see the changes. Here's the history of changes if I would like to see. And yeah, I will just write, I will commit this. So I'll just write test for webinar, and I can just press commit to master, and I can push it to the cloud. Now, what I can do, I can push it to production. What the script will do is it has the source. In this case, now source is our version control repository. It will take the file from here and push it to this push it to these destinations. And these are all my terminals that I'm using for let's say for testing, for developing my system. So right now I can just execute this script, and then all I need to do, I can go to my trading terminal, and like this, I go to, where is this object? Sorry. here is the object. I can just click refresh, and everything will be done. The new version will appear here. Okay, this was a little bit how I'm managing version control. I would now return to my stuff here. Just close this. I hope this is actually this you will be convinced to use it as well. But I'm not insisting whatsoever. Now I think we'll talk about something that I call decision support system. Decision support system is something that I call big strategy, and it is. I think it's the idea is not really novelty. It exists in many fields. It exists, for example, in manufacturing. It's called manufacturing execution system. It exists in I don't know, in other fields. Maybe for example, if you go to recently, I went to the energy generating station, and there you see this big screens and all of these things. This is sort of a decision support system because it contains a lot of monitors and let human to watch them, or maybe there are some algorithms that checking what is happening. So here what I'm trying to build is the system that allowing to supervise other systems. The system allow to make things simple because we can develop singular bricks, like singular deliverables, but it also create like a complexity. It's not That's not simpler. So this thing is allowed to combine this. It allowed to make things as simple as possible, but not simpler. So let me just maybe go ahead and just explain the whole big strategy. So the strategy is that we continuously developing our trading robots that they are meant to fight the market. So let's say we have the idea of the trading system. We develop it on terminal 2. We test it in the terminal 4. Then we move to terminal 1, which is more serious. Therefore, the color is changing. And there we try to uh, we go with our trading strategy. We're testing it over time, a much longer time, maybe several weeks or months, or if we decide we can continue. And we're still not having risk here. We're still using demo account and so on. But here we are trying to use only best systems. This is the idea. So it will be like really production demo, and the goal of this all the story is to make sure that Terminal 3 trading account is growing. If we also manage to grow Terminal 1 account, it's even better. But Terminal 3 is really something that we should take care about it. These are real forces, and this is like a reconnaissance. So I also created to support that, I created sort of a magic number convention, which basically explained the way systematically you can name your strategies and maintain them and develop them further. And the thing is, which is decision support system is can be represented like this. We have like in this image, we have everything. We have information from the internet on the bottom. We have market, trading market on top. This trading market is like a broker. It's interacting with our trading terminals. From there, we can generate data from market. We can take data from asset prices. We can have trading statistics. We can get some information from the internet as well, and then we can combine them into the algorithm, which should make something something good, like an analytical output, which will help us to analyze trades, or even we can generate some predictions. Basically, it should be something decision, which will be reused by either by trader or by our algorithmic system. So this is the whole idea. It's totally expandable. We can build on it. I really recommend you to think about your ideas to practice. Okay, this was about decision support system. I'd like to ask you to actually use another card or type your comment in the video if you think this is useful or not. I will say yes, I'm biased, but feel free to answer whatever you want. And now I think I would just go to another part. It's time to conclude. I would like to move to a final exciting part about question and answer. I guess at the moment my trading system is not that really successful. I mean, there's not so popularity around that. In fact, I'm just starting to promote it really. I prepared a series of questions which I want to answer right now. I think in the first question I have already answered why the whole story started. I have already answered there. But the second question I think is more interesting. Maybe this is should be answered. So well, I can repeat why the whole story started is that because I know that algorithmic trading is very complex, so I decided to build structured, systematic, reproducible story, which I called lazy trading, which should help others to create sort of a supervision system around to your trading system. So I decided to publish it to be more organized, to have some sort of a structure, and this things is available for everybody as lazy trading series of courses. Now, second question, why algorithmic trading makes learning of data science more exciting? I think that is really, for me, it was really clear. I was really fascinating the way, how much, the fact that there was software developed that does everything, that collects data, that even allow to backtest your strategy, optimize your strategy. This was so cool for me. And on top of that, there is so much more opportunities, so much more ideas that can be developed, and this is really helping to develop ideas. And there is a clear objective, right, which really interesting and appealing. Yeah, if you can really develop a system, you can actually really not work anymore. If your algorithmic trading system is really working, you can live out of it. I'm not advocating to do this, but really, but the thing is that important that it's also you also learn a lot. I learn a lot from these things. Now, the third question is how I improved my career with these new skills that I learned during this journey. Well, the thing is that over this month and actually already 2 years that I'm doing this slowly in the evenings, this kind of shifted my mind. It sparked my life with some ideas, some hope and also give a new knowledge really. And I now I really understand. I can do machine learning. I can do deep learning. So it's really much more excited. So I came to the point that I can really, and this is an important point I think actually, that I can take let's say some problem from domain knowledge, so at my work for example, and I can apply machine learning. I can transform it to machine learning problem, and I can figure out how to create another level of solution, automated, which will work maybe on the server like a Shiny app or something like that. I learn databases, so I can query from the database. I can write to the database. So this is really something cool. And obviously, the whole idea is that machines are not. It's really. It's not my invention, but machines are much more powerful. They are replacing humans. So, in order to not to be replaced, the key is that the it's necessary just to think how you can be more productive, how you can combine maybe 2 3 skills in one in what you're doing, so to be much more efficient. So kind of things. So you can easily switch maybe to another domain if you'd like to, if there is not more like a demand for what you're doing. Now, I think this has answered the question about how to improve the career with the skills. Um, how to learn thinking on assembling blocks of software to achieve your goals. This was another question. I think I get this idea from one of the students who sent me like a feedback, and I'm really thankful for this feedback because it's really I never thought about it, but in fact what I'm doing, I'm assembling blocks of pieces of code to achieve many different goals, and then it's complementing each other, and then it's like a bigger strategy. It's like the big story which makes things really complete, and you kind of are building like a super system that really complex, which kind of can think. It can interact with external world. This is something that we will do in the next courses. It's just for this moment. It's just some discussing about the idea totally. But really, what we'll be doing in the series of courses is to assembling different blocks of code to achieve certain goals. And moreover, any student can expand this idea with its own ideas and to practice to achieve whenever else is looks relevant. Now, the last question was, what is the bigger strategy? And I think this is already answered. This is all about, I think it's all about using R and or Python if you wish to do it in Python. It's all about creating a sort of um, supervision layer, which will kind of help to achieve the bigger objective. The bigger objective is to let computer do the job as much as you can, and just let yourself be operating with those blocks of software to think about your strategic goals. Right. So this. I think this is all on this webinar. I think this is all what I plan to do. Uh, I guess there are no questions asked so far. Feel free, if you're watching this webinar later, feel free to also put the card. I remind you, it's on the top right corner. There is a little eye. If you click on it, you will be able to like participate in the poll, which will appear there. It will be interesting to see statistics of these cards over obviously when this video will be published. So I think that yeah, feel free to answer to this question. I will and the question is, how many star will you give to this webinar? How useful it is to you? Obviously, I would also ask you to please give a feedback to the course. It's really helping to other students to learn about this course and to take a informed decision. Is something really interesting. Okay, I hope that you rate 5 stars. So I will just not to forget. I will press 5 here. Okay, let me make a wrap up here. What I actually explained is all my journey, what I created. I created a series of courses, which you can always find on obviously on my Udemy page, but also on my blog. This website is allowing you to go and read everything about each series of courses. There is an overview of all my works. So here you can get, you can click and you'll get links to all the courses of the series here. This is a second one, third one, and fourth. So these are the links that help you to get the course. So this one is something that I really this is the best, probably the ultimate stuff that I hoped this will be really good stuff. Okay, so now I think the point is to, yeah, this is the free giveaway to the second course of the series. I'm right now. Let me let me. How can I? I would like to. Actually, I would like to. Sorry, I would like to copy this one link to the chat, so it will be available to those who will come to, oh, well, I cannot do it. Oh, well, I will do it later, but keep in mind that if you go to if you can use this coupon to get for free this course, second course of the series about your trading robot. Obviously, this is all for today. It's a 45 minutes webinar. I hope it was interesting and a little bit more value adding. This webinar obviously is complementing the entire story. It helped to get a little bit like overview about the entire series. I will create another webinar about the second course of the series, and then all the others very gradually when I have time to do it. Obviously, with that, I think I will close this webinar. And I really thank you for each if you watched this webinar till the end. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to really to see you again. And feel free to share. Once again, feel free to give feedback in on the course. If you are the students, feel free to give a rating and write description how can improve. Thank you very much, and this is all. Bye.